البلد الذي يقع في أقصى جنوب القارة الإفريقية، والذي عانى طويلا من سياسة التفرقة العنصرية والنزاعات التي أرهقته وعطلت شعبه، لكنه تجاوزها ودخل التاريخ ليصبح من أكثر الديمقراطيات استقراراً في أفريقيا ونموذجاً للتعايش والسلم الاجتماعي. بلد نيلسون مانديلا أيقونة النضال المسالم من أجل المساواة والحرية والعدالة. إنها جنوب أفريقيا التي أصبحت دولة الاستقرار والاقتصاد القوي الذي جعلها الدولة الإفريقية الوحيدة في مجموعة ال20.
My name is Themba Khubushe. I'm the South Africa's ambassador to Saudi Arabia. I'm also accredited to the Republic of Yemen and the Kingdom of Bahrain. And I've been in Saudi Arabia since January 2018. And I've met a lot of people, different types of people, mixed with different people of different backgrounds, cultures, customs. I've learned a lot, socially and otherwise. But it has been also a very cushioned life in the sense of the security you feel around Saudi Arabia. You feel cushioned and relaxed, and so it has been an exciting 4 years, I may say. The relations between South Africa and Saudi Arabia are quite warm. They were established way back in 1995, 1 year after the democratic breakthrough in South Africa in 1994, 1995. So the relations have been growing very well. We have not experienced a single tiff or, let me say, coolness of relations over the more than 20 years of relations we have had with Saudi Arabia. And it has been a good relationship between the two countries. There's never a situation where you hear that a statement is issued this side, criticizing this, criticizing that, an ambassador is being withdrawn and so forth. Everything is just has been cool between the two countries.
العلاقات السعودية جنوب أفريقيا بدأت عند زيارة رئيس الوزراء نيلسون مانديلا للمملكة العربية السعودية عام 1994. على إثرها فتحت السفارة السعودية، السفارة الجنوب أفريقيا في الرياض، بس قبلها فتحت القنصلية في جدة. عام 1995 فتحت القنصلية، و1996 فتحت السفارة جنوب أفريقيا في الرياض. فبدأت تحسن العلاقات التجارية، خاصة من الناحية التجارية بين البلدين، ولا سيما إنه جنوب أفريقيا هي أكثر الدول اللي تتوائم معنا جغرافيا كجو كطبيعة. أكثر السعوديين يحبوا جنوب أفريقيا من الناحية السياحية، يروح هناك يصطادوا، يسووا الصيد هناك أكثر شيء، وبلدة تعتبر من البلدان الأفريقية فعلا، بس إنها من أنظف البلدان الأفريقية، ولا سيما خاصة في الناحية السياحية. قام رئيس الوزراء رامافوزا عام 2018 بزيارة المملكة العربية السعودية، وقابل على إثرها مولاي خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز وسمو ولي العهد الأمير محمد بن سلمان. وقد سلم وشاح الملك عبد العزيز من الدرجة الأولى نظير الجهود الاقتصادية بين البلدين لتعزيز الجهود الاقتصادية بين البلدين. وأيضا قابل سمو ولي العهد الأمير محمد بن سلمان رئيس الوزراء رامافوزا في الجي 20 اللي قام في الأرجنتين في تبادل مشترك اقتصاديا بين البلدين. تمت زيارة جنوب أفريقيا لما كنت نائب رئيس مجلس الأعمال مع وزير التجارة سابقا ذي العافية الدكتور توفيق الربيعة لافتتاح مصنع أكوا باور هناك الذي قام بإنشائه 300 ميجا واط طاقة شمسية. ففي تبادل تجاري كبير بين البلدين وحيتعزز هذا وحيكثر إن شاء الله بين البلدين.
We are also building economic relations, try to increase trade between the two countries. There is a lot of exchange in the sense that there is a lot of assistance in technology. For example, Saudi Arabia is the one that is the pillar of our renewable energy in South Africa. Aqua Power is the main solar supplier in the country. So those are kind of relations that you are talking about that are there between the two countries. We are negotiating with the Ministry of Mines to bring in some South African expertise and technology to come and help the Saudis in building their mining industry. The same thing also with tourism industry. We are trying to get involved in the Saudi tourism industry, and we are already involved in the medical industry with a number of South African medical practitioners working here.
بدأت العلاقات التجارية بين البلدين تزداد، خاصة في القطاع التعدين، في قطاع الزراعة، أيضا في القطاعات الصحية. فهذه المجالات الثلاثة اللي بنركز عليها احنا الآن، وهذه أحد ركائز الرؤية 2030 التي تساهم في نمو الاقتصاد بين البلدين.
I visited some parts of Saudi Arabia over the past 4 years. I've been to what you call it Al Ula, and I've been to Al Juf, to the east as well, that is Al Khobar, Dammam, and so forth. Those areas, Jubail and all of them, and also Jeddah naturally, and the other areas of the west, and Taif. I think that was the place I liked the most of all places I've visited. It's that it has got its uniqueness. I liked it a great deal. That's another place. But someone told me that as long as I haven't visited the south, I haven't done anything. Someone told me that. So it's my aim to visit either Jizan or Abha before I leave. That's my goal. Because someone told me, you haven't been to the south, you haven't been to Saudi Arabia. So that's my intention, to visit the south before I complete my tour of duty. What strikes you with the Saudi culture is the warmth of the people. They're quite warm, quite welcoming, but they are not imposing. They welcome you and make you feel at home, and then they go on with what they are doing. They don't force you to do what they are doing. They allow you to do what you want to do. They just make you feel at home and then leave you to your own devices. Sometimes you find people who are hospitable, who want you to do this and eat this and do that. And until sometimes you don't like it. But with the Saudis, they'll welcome you, but let you do what you want to do. When they eat, they'll introduce the dishes for you, but you pick what you want. They don't say, taste this one, this. No. They just tell you this is this is it. Then you dish what you want and you eat what you want. They allow you to explore freely instead of them guiding you. That's one thing I noticed with the Saudis. They don't, because you go to other cultures, people tend to want you to experience this and that and not allow you to explore freely. But with Saudi Arabia, they tend to allow you to explore freely and allow you to your own devices. That's one thing I've noticed. But also the other thing is the element of safety around. It's quite safe. The country is quite safe. You don't check your watch that it's getting dark now, I must be going nearer the place where I'm going to sleep if you are visiting or whatever. You just enjoy yourself. You'll go and sleep. The only thing you're worried about is the program of the following day, that, by the way, what time am I supposed to wake up? Then that will determine what time you go to sleep. It's not a question that you are forced to be indoors. That's the other element. And also the easiness of movement, the roads and everything. You just get onto the road and drive.
أكثر هدف للمجلس هو تعزيز مفهوم التجارة بين البلدين وتذليل الصعوبات بين البلدين وأيضا معرفة الجهات المخولة والرسمية عشان كي لا أحد يتنصب عليه. مثلا كتاجر، أنا أجي كتاجر مثلا بدي أستثمر تمام في جنوب أفريقيا، فنجي للقنوات المصرحة واللي نقدر نستفيد منها. فهذا دور المجلس، احنا نوعي الناس، نوعي التاجر، نوعي المستثمر سواء كان السعودي او الجنوب افريقي كيف يستثمر هنا، ايش الاشياء اللي يحتاجها. كل بلده لها سياساتها تجاريه واقتصاديه. فنشوف مثلا اي مستثمر داخل، اي مستثمر اجنبي خاصه من جنوب افريقيا بيجي يستثمر في السعوديه، نكون احنا حلقه وصل بينه وبين المملكه العربيه السعوديه.
Saudi Arabia has a potential to be a tourism giant in the world. I don't know why it hasn't reached that potential, but I mean, you look at the historical sites that are here in this country, just historical sites. Leave things like beaches, seas, oceans, and what. Just look at historical sites, and then you look at the beaches, it's the sea, this side. I mean, you've got oceans on both sides of the country. Those also can be good for tourism. And I've seen how the Saudis have developed even the zoo here. And I'm told that slowly the game parks are emerging in different parts of the country. Those also will be centers of tourism. But there will be a need also to learn from the other countries. As I said earlier on, there is that agreement between South Africa and Saudi Arabia to cooperate in developing the tourism industry here and in South Africa. So there is a lot that can still be done, but I see a huge potential, a huge potential. So it's a question of, there are things that have got to be done that go alongside with it. It's not only tourism. The country must diversify, so there are other things to attend to. But I think there is a potential. It's a matter of time, really, more than anything.
الهدف من مجلس الأعمال السعودي الجنوب أفريقي هو تعزيز العلاقات التجارية بين البلدين بما يخدم القطاع التجاري بين البلدين، خاصة الذي يخدم السعودية الآن. تركيزنا الآن هدفنا هو زيادة الاستثمار، جذب الاستثمار الأجنبي للبلد السعودية، كما توافق مع رؤية 2030. أحد ركائزها الاستثمار الأجنبي، إنه نجيب للسعودية استقطابه للمملكة العربية السعودية، خاصة بما إنه جميع إمكانيات متاحة، خاصة الآن دحين سمحوا للأجانب إنهم يتملكوا 100% من الاستثمار. فبأمانة يعني إنه ساعدتنا كثير في جذب الاستثمار الأجنبي. الآن حتفتح مصانع من جنوب أفريقيا، حتفتح هنا في السعودية، وجاية خاصة هنا الرياض. مولاي خادم الحرمين الشريفين والأمير محمد بن سلمان الله يديه العافية ساهم في كثير من هذه الرؤية، وساهم في نجاح كثير من الإنجازات وجذب الشركات للمملكة العربية السعودية استقطابها. مجلسنا مفتوح لأي واحد، لأي رجل أعمال، لأي مستثمر، سواء جنوب أفريقي أو سعودي يبغى يستثمر بين البلدين. نقدر نديله أي معلومات أي يحتاجها لبدء اقتصاد، لبدء تجارة، إحنا موجودين هنا.
When it comes to Saudi diplomacy, I've interacted with Saudi diplomats even before I came here, whilst I was in South Africa, because when I was working at the Foreign Ministry in South Africa, I was in charge of the Middle East desk. So Saudi Arabia was one of the countries I was working with directly. And I learned a lot from my Saudi, I'll call him counterpart, the Saudi ambassador at the time. But if you look at the Saudi diplomacy, it's some kind of what I'll call quiet diplomacy. What do I mean by quiet diplomacy in this sense? I mean, they are not people who always go to the press about what they are doing. It's the press that comes to them about what they are doing. For example, when the aqua plant was to be opened, we were not told by the Saudi ambassador that there was going to be an aqua plant in the Northern Cape. We heard from the press. We had to go and ask the Saudi ambassador. He said, oh, you didn't know. We've been building that plant for so many years. So that's the kind of diplomacy. It's not that when they start doing something, then they'll call the press, televisions and everything. They started that plant without noise. It's only when it was opened, and even then, we were invited by the press and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, not by the Saudi ambassador. The Saudi ambassador went with us to go and see the opening of the plant. So that's the kind of diplomacy when I'm saying quiet, because they are not beating drums about what they are doing quietly. Early this year, they contributed a lot of food to our people. It's our ministry that invited the press. The Saudi ambassador just quietly brought the supply of food quietly. Then we made the noise about it. So that's the kind of, I tend to like it, because they don't make noise about what they are doing, but they let the work itself to blossom and people start seeing what's happening. That's the kind of diplomacy I've seen from them, which is quite unique. Most of us would like to make noise about what we're achieving. Well, there have been changes since I arrived in Saudi Arabia. The opening of cinemas has been one of them, and the opening up of society. You can see the society is opening up, is getting more and more and more refreshing. Vision 2030 I think, is going to take the country to another level completely. The visit by our president in 2018 was quite significant. It was more focusing on economy. It was a state visit on the economy. That's what was discussed. There were business people discussing their own arrangements on the side. The president and the king, what they talked about was the economy. The king made a pledge to invest 10 billion US dollars to the South African industry, to the South African economy, and immediately thereafter, discussions started between the two countries, Aramco on one side, with the Ministry of Mines in South Africa, Ministry of Energy and Mines in South Africa, because the agreement was that 10 billion must be used to develop South Africa's petrol industry, to have a refinery, to build a refinery and build a petrochemical factory. So the two parties are still looking at the feasibility studies to see how possible it's going to be. Is it going to be a profitable venture? Shouldn't the money be invested elsewhere? So that's where we are at present, because it's not a question of just investing anywhere. You must make sure that it's invested where it counts the most. So the two sides are working, especially Aramco on the Saudi side and our Ministry of Energy on the other side. They are still working together to find the exact spot where this money is going to be invested. I would say South Africa and Saudi Arabia have a lot in common, and also they've got a lot in difference, so that you can see a lot. So I'll encourage South Africans to visit Saudi Arabia, and they should understand that Saudi Arabia is far more broader than Hajj and Umrah. There's a lot to experience. Not only the South African Muslim community should visit Saudi Arabia, but everyone should come for themselves and experience this uniqueness of the country and these cultures. There are many places to visit across Saudi Arabia, so they'll really enjoy themselves.